Hey guys, want to bring in a YouTube video on this since we found out that college football, for the most part, looks like it's not going to happen this fall. Pac-12 and then also the Big Ten said that they're not going to have it until spring. So I think most leagues are probably going to head that direction, if not all already. So in that case, and especially some of those players who are asking and demanding certain things to be paid, especially with long-term effects we don't know medically, especially some of these athletes. Now, what about those students that are NFL eligibility this upcoming season? That's what I want to touch on. And so there is a perfect timing and idea that I think would probably work out for the XFL. I did a video about The Rock and Garcia and Danny Garcia and also Redbird Capital purchasing the XFL. And so I think this is actually an opportunity, especially with everything going on. And I think this could have been, and there was even talks before the whole pandemic happened, where Trevor Lawrence could maybe get an offer to play in the XFL and at least get paid to do it. So I think this is where, if you look at it and think about it, Joe Burrow was, I think, not even projected to be in the first round. I think I heard was as low or high, however you look at it, or was projected originally in the fifth round of NFL going into this past season. So imagine that if he didn't have that type of year for LSU, he would have not made that type of money and being the first pick of this past NFL draft. So that's where college football is important on players that are eligible or needs to show, hey, they're ready for the NFL. So this is where I think the XFL comes in play, because if there is no maybe potentially college football, and especially springtime might be too late, especially if you got the draft going on very soon. Or like I said, if this whole thing doesn't get resolved, I think this is where you're going to have to go towards these players, and these maybe these players needs to that are draft eligibility say that, you know what, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to think about getting ready for the draft or the NFL draft, but I need to be able to showcase what I could do. I think I've made a bigger leap. Why don't you get, and this is what I would do if I was in the XFL front office, pitch and get all these players that are from these different conferences, probably put them all in one team if you can, the ones that are projected high. You could make a couple teams if you want and have those teams play against each other. And that way you have the highest talent playing against each other. Those like the development league that we always thought that XFL could be. So that, because some of those players that was in the XFL for the first season actually ended up getting contracts or tryouts too. And that's what you probably want. These are players that could potentially make that big leap or grow. So I think that's where your juniors, seniors that needs to be able to showcase that they've grown or healthy enough and be ready. And then that way you could actually still pay those players and be able to give them a leg up on what they can do. And you could probably showcase their story, do some of the legwork for the NFL that way. That way you kind of show and have that relationship and see where you could go from there. And you could probably protect those athletes. Like I said, because XFL is already thinking bubble. It's made for TV. It could be a Hard Knocks Life type of documentary, also following some of these players and their journey. So I think this is a great opportunity for the XFL, especially with what has transpired with college football. And I think this is where, if I was The Rock and Dan Garcia, this is where you should make your push right now to these athletes and players. I know they can't have an agent yet, so that's where, again, you could talk to these parents, like, hey, you could also gets these type of insurance to make sure that they don't get hurt, but at least they could start getting paid too, because you don't, and it could be the safest way, because you could pitch also the idea that, hey, I'm going to set this up like the NBA, where you're going to be safe and be in one particular spot and bubble. And this way you get to showcase your story and be able to show that you can play and be ready for the NFL. Because if you're not going to have that type of competition this year, it's going to be hard for you to show that you are ready. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is a crazy idea to have some of these college players that were projected or be ready that wanted to play in the NFL, probably give them that year that they needed, that opportunity to show that they're ready to play at the next level, and especially with the competition? You don't want to probably go for the freshman or sophomore, because you have to have 3 years of eligibility in after high school. So that's where you definitely want to go after the juniors and seniors and show and ask them, hey, if you think you're NFL ready, showcase your talent and show that you can play at the next level. And you can make up the teams based on the conferences that they're coming from. So that way you have training camp and everything all organized. You got some time now to start setting it up for next season. This is where now ESPN, Fox, all ABC, all those guys that carry the college broadcasting not going to have anything to televise. So this is where you could get a TV deal now at this point. So it's a huge opportunity, I think, for the XFL to capitalize on this opportunity. I think it's no brainer for the XFL, and they're probably gonna get the ratings there right now, because there was even talks that, well, if XFL was successful in the first year, maybe they could, with Vince McMahon's deep pocket, they could have offered $20 million for Trevor Lawrence, and then maybe that way you're going to have him maybe play for a while or pay for that first year, and you're going to make that back on your return, because people are going to be intrigued and want to tune in. So I think you're probably going to be able to get great viewership. There's no content. That's why, again, if you're not going to get that much new content unless sports continues on. There's not going to be TV series or anything like that unless they film before the pandemic. They are probably pushing things back again for the fall schedule for television. So, and that's why YouTube channels and different content are popping up and starting to grow. So that's where, again, I think you're going to see this XFL 3.0 could succeed if they execute it and make it right. So go ahead and hit that like button to help get it out there and more people could see this video, and let me know what you think. Do you think this is a crazy idea? Do you think this could work because of this new situation? Again, go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe, and thanks for your support.